What's going on, guys? Alexander Thomas here. Welcome back to Game Time 123. Today, I have made, or in the process of making, 4 decks. They're all going to be about Battlefield Middle-earth, which is going to be a combination of 4 different creature types based. And the idea basically is when we find out which one of these units are going to be there. They're all going to have 4 different types. I'll talk about each one of them really before we get into much of this. But it is Battle for Middle Earth. That is the idea for this their sets. So there's going to be dogs, there's going to be cats, there's wolves, and there's also werewolves. Those are the 4 based ideas. They all have a specific goal in mind to go through it. Let me see if I can get this thing up here. Alright, so the 4 decks I have not even put down what they are based off of. And they're going to be all commander decks. So they're all going to be uniques. So there's going to be 8. I might create a few for here. Yes. First off, we got Wolves Coming. It's all about wolves. Coming. Out. So the idea of this deck, we're going to go over each one of these decks. The idea basically of this deck is this is the only deck that is currently 5 colors. It's probably going to be reduced somewhat. It's more of an artifact based deck, but it is more of a 5 color based deck as well. So that's it. You can see it's got 15 commons currently, 13 uncommons, 9 rares, and 15 mythics. And this one is all a bunch of different colors. And currently, if I'm correct, let's see. I'm going to calculate this on the side here. We have a total of 51 cards currently in this deck, not including tokens, I don't think. Look back here, go to sets, you will see that it says in Wolf's Coming 51 cards. That is only about, we're probably missing, give or take, I want to say maybe probably looking at somewhere around 10-15 cards. We're still missing off that. I've done this before, I believe. We're going to go for each one of the cards real quickly. I don't want to go too long for each one of these, but there's the basic idea. The deck is more of an artifact-based deck, but it is a lot of the wolves are based off of getting stuff free. And it also comes in effect about benefiting yourself early on. First, you got tokens, different tokens. These are all wolf artifacts that do different things. You play them using other card effects, and each one of them does a certain thing. So, like this one says, target player loses 1 life. This next one is draw a card. Every one of them is different things, and they can't be played. They're not. You can't cast them. They don't have a mana cost. And there's no wolf artifact. We've got a lot of wolves, and these are actually there's possibilities of just paying for stuff, like playing stuff or paying life instead. Like a lot of these Lotus cards are wolves, and they also get played for free. And you create stuff. You create these tokens, and like for example, you create an artifact. When you cast a white spell, you create an artifact that's untapped target land. Basically, the objective of this deck so much is basically benefit yourself while getting any benefits to your opponent. You can also add mana for this, so you can add white mana to your mana pool. It's a 1/4 Lotus Wolf. It's an enchantment creature. It's an uncommon for very good reasons. We got Green Wolf of Lotus. Again, you can pay 4 life for it. And you can also, when you've cast a green spell, you create an artifact that gains 1 life instead, and you can also add 1 green. This is actually probably one of the more ridiculous ones. Just gain 1 life by casting green spells. Again, this deck is pretty much all colors, so that's just to point out on that. The next card, we got Red Wolf of Lotus. Again, you can pay for 4 life. You can also get a artifact thing that does. Deal 1 damage to it, or you can add red. It is a 1/3. The wolves are not necessarily powerful in this deck. They're just more like, let's just put a bunch of stuff out there. That's the basic idea for that. Then we got the Dark Wolf, a Dark Wolf Black. Again, you can pay 4. Our target player loses 1 life. 3/1. You got Lotus Blue Wolf, which allows you to draw a card. So each one of these Lotus Wolves, and the whole deck has Lotuses. And even if you guys know one of the most expensive cards in the set, or in the history, is going to be Black Lotus. They're not as powerful as Black Lotus. Black Lotus is ridiculously powerful, and I don't think they reprinted this recently. Not counting the ones that were the extra $999 ones that were put in there. Next one we got Wolf of Freedom, and these are all commander decks. So they can be played. Some of these planeswalkers can be played as your commander. Wolf of Freedom can be your commander, and it counts as all colors. So you can play a 5-color deck. You create a 3/3 Wolf Trample for +1. Goodness. Create a 3/3 wolf. That's ridiculous. Or you can give all your creatures, or you can buy 6 to give all your creatures indestructible and lifelink into end of turn. Yeah, that is ridiculous. That's another one of those ridiculous cards. Some of these cards could be ridiculous, and honestly, might be one of the pretty ridiculous. It's not cheap. It costs 5 to get onto the field, but it's still pretty decent. Master of Wolves. We could pay 3 and then 4 white, or 3 white and blue, or you get the point. But wolves now cost 0 instead. And I'm not going to edit any of these cards. It is wolves. Whenever you cast a wolf or fox creature, create a 2/1 snow wolf. But yeah, that's another +1 Master of Wolves, which basically means all your wolves are now 0 and 1. And I don't know if to say this or not. Let's see. Wolves cost 0 hits. I don't think this one counts. I don't think the Wolf of Freedom counts to her because it's a planeswalker, not a creature. But that would be interesting for it. Master Fox. It's a fox wolf. I don't know how those two work together, but it is. You can pay 3 to add 5 by tapping it, or you can tap it to add 2 mana of any color. And you can also get foxes to tap 1, add 2 mana of any color. And that's going to be ridiculous. And basically, if this is your commander, you can pay 10 life on turn 1. And guess what? You can play it even if it was counter or knocked back. you basically can pay 10 life again. Now, in Commander, you start with 40 life, so that's a pretty powerful link. And you can also just add, it's ridiculous. And likelihood your opponent's not going to be able to continuously counter it, so it could be ridiculously good. And also, adding 2 mana any color is pretty good. Also, any of your foxes get plus add 2 mana to any color. So yeah, this is a pretty powerful creature. 7 Foxes of Freedom, okay. This card is absolutely ridiculous. The legend rule doesn't apply to creatures you control, so you have as many copies of this card as you want. Now, Foxes and Wolves have Shroud and Haste, so they can't be targeted by spells, with exception of like board wipes. You can create a 3/3 blue fox with vigilance, or you can create a 4/2 green wolf with vigilance by tapping it, and it costs 7. So basically, you can do 1 and then 6 life to play this creature, or you can do a combination of green, blue, and white to play on the field. There's a green wolf. There's a blue fox. Wolf Final Attack. It's a legendary enchantment. When a wolf or fox deals damage to a creature, and destroy that creature. So basically, it gives your wolves and foxes death touch. When it deals damage whenever they deal damage to a player, you create a wolf orb tapped on the field, and we'll see wolf orb in a few minutes here, or a little bit here. Wolf orbs are, I think, just add a certain mana, but this card's ridiculous just for that proportion. There's wolf orb. It costs 0. It's not a token, per se. It costs 0. Yeah, it's 0 to add 1 to your mana pool. You can also add 1 color to spin it, or any color by spending 1 mana. Foxes or werewolves. So this actually be really good in werewolf deck. Probably gonna go put it in there just to do that. Next card we got is Pack of Wolves. That's already in the Wolves deck. So you may have any number of cards named Pack of Wolves in your deck. So you can have as many copies as you want. Again, in Commander, you can normally only have 1 copy. This card does not follow that rule. You can have as many copies as you want. And remember, Wolves, the 1 card that gives all your wolves 0 costs 0, this card's going to cost 0. The Pack of Wolves has vigilance if you control 2 more Pack of Wolves. So it has vigilance as long as you have at least 2 on the field. And they could be free, just depending on how it works for it. Moving on, we got... Okay. This is ridiculous. You can pay 6 life, and it counts as all colors, even though it only costs 3. Wolves cost 2 less to cast, so you can give you can have, let's just say you have this card, and a bunch of these wolves. Play this for 6 life, and you can play as many of these extra wolf creatures you want. And other creatures are light, in addition to their other types. I don't know what that means unless there's a specific card type that I'm not remembering putting into this. I think there is a effect that means that white creatures are something different type of creatures. Like there's dark and there's light creatures, but I don't know for sure about that context. And we got Golden Wolf. It's a 1 cost. It's 1 cost. 2/2. Chains Reborn. Amulet of Wolf. Equipped creature has first strike and gets +1/+1. If the equipped creature is a wolf, it gets +2/+2. You can put the werewolf, and it gets advantage because you can put a wolf or werewolf. Equipped a wolf or werewolf for 0. If it's just a regular wolf, you can make it's equipped for 2. Wolf Campfire. Wolves have +1/+0 and have haste. Um, the wolf I control, anyways. It's an enchantment wolf. Not much about this. It just that's could be really good. Okay. There is a new effect that I put into this. And it's a little bit more complicated to explain, but I'm going to try to explain it as best I can. So, I've added an effect called Special Summon. If you guys know from Yu-Gi-Oh, there was a format called there was the extra creature portion. What was it called? Pendulum Summon. I actually put this together before I knew about Pendulum Summon. But basically it's kind of like that. Ish. It's because you don't do creatures. So Special Summon is, it always costs 5, generally, I believe. And you pay the Special Summon cost. Not the creature, not this cost here. You pay the Special Summon cost. And if you do that, it goes into the command zone as long as there's no commander there. And when you do that, it has this extra ability, like for example, Light Steal. Otherwise, if you don't do that and just pay the 2, then you get the extra. You don't get the ability. You have Life Against Round. And I believe I'll get to it eventually here. But basically, when you play this, you get to cost something. You can play something extra into the field that costs less than its actual mana cost. So you can play something that costs 2 or less. This one's actually a pretty powerful creature. Target creature gains X power. X is equal to total power of creatures target opponent has on the field. You may use this ability only if you control only with life forces into the command zone. See, that's where it is. It has to be in the command zone, which is not meaning that you could technically put it there. You just can't actually, and you can cast it later from the command zone. The fact is, it won't go back to the command zone if it's not your commander. And it can just once per turn. Next one we got Werecat. It's not going to be It's not going to be in the mill werewolf because it's not the right colors. Special summon for 5, so any mana. You can then power up. Each creature gets +7/+7 if it's a cat or werewolf. And they gain haste during the turn. You can only use this battle if it's in the command zone only once per turn, and it does not have trample when it does do that. When it comes to the field, if it's on the field, then it does have trample. It's a cat werewolf. It's a 5/7 regular, so this is actually a pretty powerful creature. This really only does anything if it's in a cat or werewolf deck, and it's not this. I will give you a tip here. This is not in either the cat deck or the werewolf deck. And there's a reason for it. All right, next one we got Mystical Wolf. It can be your commander. Yeah. Oh. Mystical color. I think I'm gonna pass for more on mystical colors. +2, create a 3/3 white wolf. A 3/3 white with 3/3 with first strike. Yeah, it's wolf. Or you can make it a -X, becomes an XX wolf with double strike and indestructible until that turn. It starts with 10, so you can technically minus it by 10. The fact is, you do minus it by 10, it's dead. So minus it by 9 on turn 1. And it's not easy to play. I'll explain how Mystic Color works in a second here. We got just a regular wolf. It's actually a legendary token creature. It's a wolf. 6/6 wolf. There's nothing to explain about that. Giant attack. Okay. So, Mystical Colors is a thing I created. It only works in Commander. It doesn't work anywhere else. Well, okay. It works in Commander. It works in Brawl. Anything that you have to do, choose a Commander with it. I'll go and give it a little closer. So, if you're playing in a format which requires you to choose a Commander, this card's colors change to match that Commander's colors. It does not change the actual cost for it. So, you still pay the cost. So you still have to have some way of playing green or black. It just matches those colors instead. So it's technically green black as a color. But it is also it's technically counted as all colors that match your commander. Which means you can play it as long as you are playing a game with commander. You can't play it with a format where you don't have a commander because it doesn't work that way. You can play in a green or black deck. Otherwise, White Wolf. I think I made this card's way too powerful. I might have to say this is going to be taken out. When a creature enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. You have to lose 2 life. Life equals power. You pay 2 life in return, so it's actually a terrible card for a legendary creature. But it does have an effect that allows you to gain more life in it. So if you happen to have a really powerful, really expensive wolves, then you could do a lot. The Wolf Leader. It's black, orange, green, or it's red, or whatever like that. When a wolf attacks, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Each opponent chooses one of those cards. You may play the chosen card into your hand or on the bottom of your library. Others are placed in the graveyard. If you want to get your stuff out, if you want to get stuff out quickly, or you get to choose a card. So when a wolf attacks, it is when a wolf attacks, not Wolf Leader attacks. When a wolf attacks, then you get to get something from your hand, which is a great card for Commander. It's not in that deck either. Next card is Wolf Floating Land. I will actually put this into the Wolf's Coming deck. It's already in there. Add 1 mana of any color for land. It's a land wolf type. Add 1 mana of any color for tapping it. Or you can pay 1 to add 2 mana of any color. You can only spend this mana on wolves and werewolves. We will put it in the wolves and mill of wolves. And when a wolf enters the battlefield, you can untap it. It probably actually does nothing on that deck, honestly. We might get rid of it. Because it only says when a wolf enters the field, untap it. It doesn't work in that deck too much because it's all the werewolves. Sunrose Land. It's a land wolf. Add either black, green, or red. And whenever a wolf enters the battlefield, you add that mana to your mana pool. Again, not going to put that in the deck. I'm not putting that one in the deck for sure because there's no way to play that card in the deck because it's not the right colors. Next one, we got Wolf of Moonphase. Okay. This is a little weird. This one's a little weird. When a wolf enters the battlefield, put a little counter on Wolf of Moonphase. You can create a phase token or add a counter to it. So phase token is a token type that just an extra thing. I think we're going to get to it. Basically, what you do is you play it, and then it just adds extra counters. There's extra effects for it. You get an emblem that says wolves and werewolves. You get troll get +1/+1 for each phase count on face token. Oh my goodness, that card would be absolutely insane if it was the right color for the wolf's deck. And here's face token. Oh yeah, there's a lot of things on this. If face token has 1 or 2 counters, you draw a card at the beginning of your next upkeep. Only once. If it has 3 to 5 counters, you draw 2 cards at the beginning of your upkeep. Oh goodness. So you. Oh wait, you draw a card. So you're actually getting more card, really getting a card. You draw a card at the beginning of your upkeep. You draw 2 cards, or you get 3 cards. So basically, you're going through your deck really, really quickly off of this. Good thing is only that commander does anything with it. And it is not a commander, by the way, so you can't play as your commander. Thank goodness. Aging of the Wolf. Suffer your graveyard. Why would you want to do that? And place it on the bottom of your library. I guess that's why you have to shuffle it, because the context, if you shuffle it and if you didn't shuffle, you just put on the bottom, then it's in the same order, and your opponents technically know everything. You shuffle your graveyard and then put it in the bottom. So you're going to get your cards back, basically. Eventually. Maybe. And that's how Aging of the War works. Links of Life. It's a Link's Lotus. You may cast this by paying 2 life and discarding a card. When you cast a spell, you gain 1 life. So you gain 1 life every time you cast a spell, which is everything but lands. And tokens, I guess, don't count as spells, but that's the idea for that one. It's an interesting concept. And you can play it instead. You can pay for pay 2 life and discard instead of paying 2 life and going add 1, or you can pay 1 to green. Next one we got Howler. 7 costs. You may pay 2 life and discard 2 cards instead of paying us cost. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm going to pay 2 life and discard 2 cards and play this on the field. Artifact creature. When you draw a card, you may pay 6 life. At first, you're like, why would you ever want to use that ability? But whenever you lose life, each opponent mills 10 cards. Which is why this card's absolutely insane. It is... it makes sense to go into the mill of the werewolves, even though it's not actually a werewolf. Not all the cards in each of these decks are werewolves, by the way. Just to point that out. As I just pointed out, making no sense. Wolf of Power. As Shrouded Hexproof. Pay 10. Target player mills 60 cards. Oh my god, what? What? As Shrouded Hexproof. So, Board Wipe is the only thing you can... So, Board Wipe's the only thing... Oh, wait. Yeah, so you can't target it, and you can't target with any abilities. I guess it means Board Wipe's the only way to get rid of it. If a player has no cards in their library that player shuffles their graveyard into their library. 4. And loses 10 life. So they lose 10 life. They lose in Commander game, that means they lose a fourth of their life total. That's a lot of life. It costs 0. The fact is that it's going to be difficult to get 10 mana. That's not super difficult in this format, though. In this deck, I don't think. Wolf of White Snow. Can't be blocked. Whenever a wolf or a 0-cost spell is placed into the graveyard, create a 0/1 wolf. When this creature dies, create a lotus tree with add 1 mana of any color. Okay, it's a 1/1 that can't be blocked. That's why it's a mythic, I guess. It also creates lotus trees, like whatever that means. Here's lowest tree, lowest token. Add 1 mana of any color. Actually, it says 1/1, 1/1 of mana of any color. It's supposed to be add 1 mana of any color. I'm not gonna try to edit that right now, but Llama Wolf. It has, oh my god, 17/17. Trample first strike. Pay 12. It can't be blocked until end of turn. So deal 17 damage if it's your commander, and it's because it's all colors. It can be your commander. Now, if you haven't never played Commander before, there's 3 ways a game can pretty much end. One is you're running out of life points. Second, something else, some other card says you lose the game. The third way is if you take more than 21 commander damage, which is damage dealt by whatever the commander is, which is the legendary creature, or I guess technically planeswalker, depending on which format you're playing. That's Brawl. So basically, this is a 2-turn kill if you happen to be able to have 12 mana on the field. It does cost 10, but yeah, goodness. Imagine being able to cheat this out, though. Good. We got Silverfang, which costs 0 blue, blue, black, black. At beginning of each opponent's turn, that player sacrifices a permanent or pays half their life points. When an opponent sacrifices a permanent, you create a Wolf Sword enchantment. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice a creature or pay 3, and it cancels all colors. I'm sorry. This card's either really bad or really good. I don't know what Wolf Sword's enchantments do. We're probably going to see it next. I mean, it costs you 3 mana every turn, so that's a lot. Speed Share. It's the lowest wolf. It has haste, pay 3, put X on counters up to 3 creatures. Where X is its attack points. Oh. So basically you can put 0 counters or pay 3 to put, or you can tap it. You can't tap it and do the other thing as well, though, so you have to actually chant it or something. It's a legendary creature for 0. And it has haste. And it's all colors. So, wow. I don't know. This might be a little overpowered. A Firebolt, okay. We also have to talk about instant creatures. Because that is something that I also added to this set. It's called Legendary Instant Creatures. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about Legendary necessarily, because Legendary just means that they can be your commander. You first have to play it as your commander. As an instant. That's the rule. And the first line of text occurs. Then later from the graveyard, you can play it for its weakness cost, which says it's pay 2 life. It's supposedly weaker. I don't know if that's really true for instant. I don't really know if that's true for most instant creatures, but whenever it attacks, deal 1 damage to each opponent. It's a 2/2 for 3. This could be ridiculous. I don't know. Instant creature. I have not tried instant creatures yet, but this could be ridiculous. Thunderfist. It's a legendary instant creature. Wolf. Deal 1 damage to all opponents. Tap them. Oh, all opponents' creatures. Tap them. Pay 2 life. And then whenever it attacks, place a stun counter on a creature. Tap. And place a stun counter on 2 creatures, and stun counters mean they don't untap they pretend to untap in the next phase. And you remove a stun counter. Rain Sweeper. you can draw 2 cards for paying 3. So it's devotion, divination. And then you can pay 2 life, and whenever it attacks, you draw a card. Wrath Prate. Destroy dark creature. Basically, it's murder. That's really what it is. It's murder, except that you can pay 2 life to play it later as a 3/2, and whenever it attacks each opponent, sacrifices a creature or loses 2 life. Double attacker. Okay. Double attacker is a weird creature. Double attacker, luckily, it is not a commander. Because if it was, you would basically be winning the game probably really quickly. And it's a 1/1 creature regularly. So if you paid 0 for this creature, it's a 1/1. Or you could pay, if you pay 3 mana, then it's a 1/1. It's a 2/2. And so on. So if you pay 9 mana for this card, it gets 3 1/1 counters, which means it becomes a 4/4. And there's an effect. You can pay 5 life, or you pay 3 to untap it. If you've attacked with double attack this turn, there's another main phase. There's another combat phase after this. And it counts as all colors. It can't be a commander because it's not legendary, but thank God for that. I had to try to play against this. And then we have the last card that's in the set. And these are in every one of the packs. It's an artifact of Middle Earth. It costs 0. There's a reason why it costs 0. First off, first thing, it says, play this card as soon as you draw it. So if you get this card, if you draw this card, you get and say, oh, you have to play that immediately. It's not counterable. So it can be destroyed, but honestly, there's somewhat of a reason why you wouldn't want to destroy it. I think, honestly, it depends. There's a point where you might want to destroy it, but it also could help you win the game if you are playing against it. Smells you cost 1 less for each card of the type you've chosen. So if you have 3 creatures, it costs 3. It does not affect the colored mana cost pay. If you would take damage from a source, place a world counter on it, which is the type that you put on there. And if it has 30 or more world counters, you lose the game. I'm thinking about knocking that down before I print that to make it 20. But think of it this way. Every creature is a different source. That means if you have 10 creatures attacking you and they can't be blocked, you put 10 counters on this thing. So, or if you take damage from a spell like Shock, then it would do that sort of thing. And we have one more. We have a few more actually. Aura Shield. I put this in 2 decks, I think, or maybe it must be cast with blue, red, or white mana. So it doesn't. You can't play it in some of these decks. It can be played in each one. You pay 3 life to counter target spell. Nope, sorry, not. Or you pay 1 life to block all damage from any target. So you could, in theory, if you're taking, this is another thing. This is another combination between this one, Artifact Mill of Earth. If you happen to play this one, Aura Shield, then you could technically block all damage from the card, which means it can be. And the good thing is it can't be destroyed by blue, red, or white spells. It has to be destroyed by either black or green spells. And guess what? You can still counter it using 3 life. It hurts you over time. And this is the last one, is the White Wolf. I think I'm going to put this in the deck somewhere. Alright, so I'm going to take a short little point here, and then we're going to go look at the Draw the Dogs deck. So I'll be back in a moment. All right, we're back here. We're gonna talk about the dogs deck. Now, I think we're gonna put this into two separate videos. The draw deck, in case you guys didn't get, is about drawing cards. Who could have guessed that? I will explain real quickly about what these are going to do as well. I've got to get about, I think, quite a few more cards. We're pretty close to finishing with the dogs deck. I think we need one more card. The dogs deck is about drawing cards. The cats deck is about upgrading your other creatures to yes. And the middle of the cards, in case you didn't guess, is about milling yourself, not your opponent necessarily, but yourself. Anyways, we're getting to the talk with the dog deck. I think we're gonna just do the dog deck here. I think I did the deck as well. This deck as well. I have not done the werewolf deck, and I have not done the cats deck. So, draw the dogs. Here we go. And there are quite a few commanders on this one as well. Draw the dogs. Bella, patient commander. It's a defender. It's a 2/1 defender. And as long as you control Bella, patient commander, or companion. Each opponent can't draw more than 2 cards each turn. You can make it. You can also tap it. Each player draws a card. So basically, if you draw a card, if you made an opponent draw a card, if your opponent's already drawn cards, they can't draw any more cards than that. It kind of limits their fronts. It's not a very good card, in my opinion, for that. Next, we got Dog Wishes. Okay, so this is a kind of an optional. This is a blue-white deck. You can pay either white or you can pay blue. If you paid blue, then you draw a card. If you paid white, you gained 1 life. I think the dog is probably looking for a steak, and you get, I don't know. I don't know what's in that pot, but alright, Packet, Dog of Journey. It's a blue, so just blue. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards. At each instep, so every player's instep, the player who has the most cards in their hand gains control of Packet. Why would you want to play this card? Oh, but you do get the extra effect about drawing extra cards whenever you control it. So, yeah. So basically, and with the entire point of the deck, you're probably going to gain control of it more often. And once you have control of it, it's difficult to lose it. As long as you're not going cast a spell, cast a spell, cast a spell, cast a spell every turn. Cool. What's that? Mirror Pup. Mirror Pup is an interesting one. Its toughness, power toughness is equal to the number of cards in your hand. So if you have 0 cards in your hand, it dies. It has if it dies if you have no cards in your hand. So if your opponent makes you discard your hand, you die. You lose this card. It has all abilities of all creatures on the battlefield. And when it dies or exiled, you draw a card. I feel like this is a lot more powerful on all abilities of target creature. Okay. I'm going to say. Abilities of all creatures would actually be ridiculous. Thank God, it's only of target creatures. So you get to choose a creature when you do it. Alright, next card we have ourselves Shunmount. Okay, so this is, if you play this as your commander, it's technically a 5-color deck. And you wouldn't be able to play this as your commander if you are playing blue, basically playing as blue-white, because you can't play it regular. It's not necessarily in the deck. If you pay a certain cost, and honestly, actually, this is a 3-color card. You can't even play this in your deck, so I probably should just get rid of it. Get rid of all the set. Anyways, if you paid this first cost for it, white, blue, red, then you get a counter that says, place a lifelink counter on it, each creature you control, if you tap this creature. If you pay white, black, green, it enters with 2 1 counters. It has lifelink and it enters 2 counters, so it's a 4/4 with lifelink. If you paid white, blue, green, it has pay 2, draw a card, draw 2 cards. If you paid white, blue, black, white, black, red, test it, pay X life, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life. Okay, I guess you just have to choose something at point. It's not going to be a good card. It will be. It probably will not be the commander of this deck. Bond between dogs. Okay, 6 costs. Creatures that have the same type, which is basically dog. Basically, going to be dogs in this first one. As a chain creature, can't be destroyed or exiled. Yeah, I might have to up that to at least rare. Because that's insane. I guess you can destroy the enchantment, so it's not that great. It doesn't have hex. It doesn't have hex for first round, so yes, it works somewhat. Royal Pup, Shroud. If you control a commander, Royal Pup can't be blocked. Oh, cool. 3/3, it can't be blocked as long as you control a commander. And when I say control in this context, that means you actually have to have it on the field. Cute pup, by the way. And it can't be targeted by spells. So, new friends. That is so cute. I got all these things from it's AI character generator. I use different things for it. It's so cute. This card it costs a ton to play though. You pay basically a minimum. You could just use this. Would be a really expensive draw. Okay, I'm gonna pay 0. I'm gonna pay 0, then 2, then 1, and just draw a card. I'll create 0, 1, 1 dogs. You could create a lot of dogs, but goodness. That would be the most expensive draw card I would ever see. If you just played it onto the field. Lady of the Dogs. Let's see, as human. Artifact creature. When there's a battlefield, to create 2 1 white and blue dogs. Vigilance. It has vigilance, and it's 5/4, and you can recast it. If I've explained recast before, but I'll explain it again. You can play this card from your graveyard for its recast cost, which is basically, in this case, it's actually it's 2 white, blue, and then +1 for every time you cast it. So if you played it once, then it's already going to cost at minimum. Actually, it's going to be at the minimum going to cost you 6, I believe, if I'm reading this correctly. Yes, for X is the number of times you play it. So yeah, you would played it once already, so it would be up 1. I guess if you didn't play it, if you would actually put it in your graveyard instead, or it was counter or something, then it actually wouldn't count as played, and then it only costs 5. Recast is the context basically you can play creatures, and Julia is better for spells. Max, Canine Companion. Whenever Max, Canine Companion, or another dog is about you, draw a card and then reveal a card. If it's a dog, create a 1/1 blue-white dog, and you can pay 1 in blue to draw a card. And technically it is 2 colors. As a legendary creature. Goodness. And I think honestly the dog's deck, there's a lot of cards you can do this. Okay. Siva, Warrior of the Command. It's a dog warrior. Whenever a dog warrior attacks, each opponent chooses 1. Either they have to tap a creature they control. It's just going to be kind of like a one of them attacks, or they mill 2 cards, or they discard 2 cards. They have to choose one of them. And whenever a player, but it might be better for them to tap a creature in this case because whenever a player mills or discards a card, 1 or more cards, it creates a 4/4 blue-white dog warrior. And I think it's the next card up there, but this card could be absolutely insane just as a commander because it's not particularly expensive. And it's a 5/7. And here's the dog warrior. I will argue with this. I could not make it a blue-white token. So this is the best I could do. And we have now the 1/1 dog that has no abilities. Warren. When it dies, you scry 7. So you look at the top 7 cards of your library and put them back in any order or put them back on the bottom of it. It has vigilance. And then you can also tap blue and white and blue to return a target dog from the graveyard to the battlefield under your control. Yeah, this card's going to get targeted immediately because this card will be insane. You basically can pay. You pay 4. You're going to play whatever you want from your creature to the battlefield, and that means that card is absolutely insane. If you want. And actually, there's another card that will probably make that card absolutely insane if it is the commander. That's vigilance. Next card we got Adventure. Okay, I will explain. Adventure originally I was going to say choose 2. You can choose each one of them more than once. No. Because that would make it insane. Because you can have as many copies as you want in your deck. So you can pay, and it costs 2 for each one. Either you draw 2 cards, create a 1/1 dog, or search for library for a Plains or Islands card. Plains or Islands, and put it into the battlefield tapped. Think of it if this was double. If you be able to play each one of them twice, you could draw 4 cards. You could create 2 1/1 dogs. You could search library for 2 different cards and then put them on the battlefield tapped. Or you can do any combination of them. So it's just you can only choose one of each one. So you can draw 2 cards. I think this card's absolutely broken. Even at it is a sorcery, so you can only do it on your turn, but I think this card's still very broken. Dog Sanctuary. Okay, there's a lot of lands in both these. There weren't really any in that one. Dog Sanctuary. Dog Sanctuary enters tapped unless you control 2 or more dogs, so you have to have a dog. And if you do, you can tap it for, and when you do play it, you have a white, blue, or you can tap it to add a white and a blue. And you can activate that one once per turn. So basically, you could officially add 3, this card could officially add 3 mana every turn. And guess what? It's a Plains Island card. So you can search for it as well. Return Home. Okay, I gotta read all this. This is a very long text. Return all creatures to their owner's hand. Then each player may play any number of dog-type creatures without paying their mana cost. Oh, God. Each player creates X 1/1 dogs. The X is the difference between the number of dogs they played and the number of dogs that return to the hand. So, let's just say you have 1 card returned to your hand, and you can't play any other dog. Then you get it wins. And honestly, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous, which is 100% why the Mythic. And honestly, if it were anything else, it would be higher rating. In one of the games I created, there's a higher rating than Mythic. It's Legendary. There's only generally one of each of those in each one of the sets. So, yeah. This card is absolutely insane. Because return all cards, and then you can play stuff for free, basically. Your opponent does get 1/1 dogs, though. I will point it out, and I don't think there's any. There's not much. I don't think there's any trample in this deck. There might be 1 card in here that's trample. All right, Management Dog Trainer. Whenever you cast a dog-type creature, you put a 1/1 counter on this card. So yay! And you can get an emblem. And whenever you did a -6, you get an emblem that says dogs. Let's say dogs you control get +2/+2. And you can give a target dog flying or vigilance until end of turn. Dogs of flying. And this can also be your commander, just to point that out. That card might be too powerful. Because the entire deck's based off dogs. Hey, buddy. It can block 2 creatures each turn, and it's equal to the number of cards you control. So it's going to get insane pretty quickly. So it's already 2/1, and the more dogs you have, make it. So if you have 3 dogs on the field, it's a 2/3. That's including Buddy. So yeah, this card could get pretty insane. Now it's not a very good powerful creature. Thank God for that. Matter of Dogs. Okay. This card could get really insane if you don't kill it immediately. At the beginning of each turn, place a time counter. And you can remove 8 time counters to create 8 1/1 dogs. That are white and blue, technically, but. Whew. All right, so maybe this is another one you want to destroy real quickly. It's legendary creature, so yeesh. 8 counters on it. That's ridiculous. Beginning of the packs, and you create. This is another one of those instant creatures that I mentioned earlier. You create. You create X1 dogs, and then layer. So you can technically play this for 2 to put in your graveyard. You'll probably play 3. You get 1 dog, and then you can play it later for its weakness. And the weakness cost in this case is always the same. Sometimes it does with X. This one's always the same. It's always going to cost that amount, and you get a 5/5 creature. That's because it doesn't create anything else. Riding attack. This is weird. Play only if you attack the 2 more creatures until up to 1 target creature can't block this turn. So basically, you can only play it whenever you attack a creature, you can play this. And then you can recast it for a lot. So it's going to cost a ton. So it's going to cost regularly. It's going to cost a minimum 7 mana to play this card. I didn't realize how bad that means. Recasting it for 7 mana. That's why. This is not recast as weakness. Yeah. So basically, you recast it from your graveyard for a lot more. So you attack with 2 creatures, it becomes a minimum of 7 mana. And then you get 200. It's a good card, kind of. It's not great for it. Continuing on. Dog Charger. When it attacks, draw a card. It has haste. But there's nothing to do with that. Hey, it was favorited. So I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you for it. Husky of Speed. Whenever it attacks, blocks, or dies, draw a card. And you can just draw a card regularly anyways. It's just a dog. That's all it is. And here's the Husky. I think you're Husky. I don't know. Flower Daisy. Okay, I did make a lot of cards that are just really, really weird. Not because of what they do, but this. So, this has Vigilance when you play it. It costs 3 to play it. At the start of each player's... It has a weird mana cost. There's roll 2 6-sided dice, then choose one of them to be the power and one of them to be the toughness. It's not... So basically, it's going to be a minimum of 1/1 every time. At the start of each player's turn, you have to do it every turn. I don't have 2 1s in here. But you play it. And then it's power and toughness depending on what happens. So if you choose one of them to be attack, 1 minute. So if it becomes a 1/1, if you rolled 2 1/1s, you roll Snake Eyes, then you can pick it 1/1, and it can't attack as long as its power is 3 or less. It has to be at least pretty powerful, and it can't block unless its toughness is 2 or more. So it's gonna be very weird. But it is a good creature. Lexendale. It is a start of each player's turn. You may pay a white and blue or 3 to roll 6-sided die. If you do, you may copy an instant source with mana cost X, which is the number rolled, for free. if you choose not to, draw a card and pay 2 life. So you could potentially just pay, you could end up just drawing a card and pay 2 life. It can't attack unless you cast a non-permanent spell. So, but, think of it this way. You're going to get that, and if you're able to cast it, yes. But see, if you don't cast it, then you're going to draw a card and pays 2 life. So you're going to lose 2 life off the effect. And it can't actually do that. It's a ridiculously big card. A Bongo. It costs 1. At the beginning of each player's turn, you may untap it if you do draw a card. I'm trying to figure out what portion of the point where you would not want to draw a card. I guess if you're running low on cards. If you're playing against a mill deck, maybe. I don't know. And you can also just untap it for paying 3. So, and you can play this at any time. So that's nice. A 2/2 that you can just untap. So it's an extra blocker. You can only do it. Oh, you may tap it. Sorry, it's may tap it, not untap it. So yeah, there would be it. So you could tap it to draw and then untap it to draw a card by paying 3. It could be ridiculous. Dog Park. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you've cast a dog spell this turn. It's a Plains Island. You can either add a white or a blue, or you can pay 2 to trade a 1/1 dog. It's an interesting case. Dog Hotel. It enters tapped. Sorry, it's tapped. Because it adds white and blue, and when it enters the battlefield, you have to return a non-token creature to your hand or sacrifice it, so it does have some basic effects. And it enters tapped, too. I wonder why. It does give you a lot of stuff. Dark Dog. That's probably inaccurate. It has Howl. Howl is a really interesting effect that I put into this. Whenever it attacks, you can return a card from your graveyard to your hand. It's basically taking stuff out of your graveyard to your hand. So if something's destroyed, you can do it. And whenever you attack with it with a dog, it explores. Oh my god. No wonder this is a legendary creature. And you can also make it explore by paying 2. Oh my god. So everything explores. So basically all you have to do is get a card. Oh, it's like, I get this card. Okay, I drew it. Okay, well it's not a land, so I can keep it on top. I'll do that for every creature I can draw. Unless I really want the card. Or don't want the card. And land goes in my hand, so I guess if it's a land it does. But holy mackerel, you can make every creature export. It makes everything. And that means it could be ridiculously good because you get 1/1 counters on that creature. Peenum. It's blue. It has Howl. It can't be blocked as long as it's attacking alone. It's a 1/1. Howl means, again, you can get stuff from your graveyard. Team Up. 2 target creatures with the same creature type gets +1/+1 in turn. And you get to draw a card on effect. That's cool. Sky and Pixie. Okay. When you catch your second spell each turn, you may search your library for a plains or island card and place it into your hand. When it attacks, you draw 2 cards, and it has haste. It's a 5/8. Now you do have to discard 2 cards or pay 3 life at the end of each of your turns, but for 5/8 for 4, that's ridiculous, and it has haste. Goodness. Terrified. Dog scared. Target creatures can't block this turn. Draw a card. What? Oh my goodness, that's actually a ridiculous common. I don't even know. Okay, this card, I have a few of them on this. And I'm going to do the werewolf and the cat's deck at a different time. Because it's already getting quite late. First off, I'm going to go a little closer here. It can't be countered. It call it. Well, okay, first off, let's note into the can cost. 8 white, white, blue, blue. It costs 12 mana to play it. But it's okay, it has some side effects. It can't be countered. If you get this card out, you're not going to be countering it. You're being pressed. Oh, wait. There's a way to cheat this out. Whenever it enters the battlefield, each player removes all creatures from it, unless they're dogs, hounds, or wolves. And then shuffles the remainder of their cards into the deck. So, remove all cards that are not. And has a bonus effect. Even though it's a 2/2, it can't die. There's no way to get rid of this card once it gets to the field. That's why it costs 12. Because if you try to destroy it, exile it, yeah. It comes back to the battlefield tapped. And then that thing triggers again if you had to, technically. So actually you'd be shuffling all the cards again. This deck does not have very many. I don't think this deck has any dog cards that are not dog, hounds, or wolves in it. So, but goodness. Basically, you're going to lose the game if you get this one, if this card comes to the field, because all you're going to be able to do is target other creatures. Wait, imagine cheating this out. Now, granted, it can't be your commander for it, but goodness. Temple of Dogs. Sacrifice a creature of power 2 or more. Just like for a basic. So you can just get stuff out here. Extra enchantment. Dog Battle. Dogs get +X on a turn. My goodness. That's another card to be ridiculously powerful. Happy. It's another husky, guys. It's a little husky. Yes, I know you're husky. Target here gets +2/+1 to enter. And it's an instant. Dog Lover. Dogs are +1/+1. Now, it's a legendary creature. It can't be a legendary creature in this thing because of the context that it can't be a legendary creature for this deck. And it also would be removed because it is a human, not a dog. Because it's not 2 colors. It's a 2/6, and when it enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 dog. This is a terrible card for it. But, yeesh. Okay, we have this is an interesting one. I have added another card type. Kind of. You may cast spells from your graveyard as if they were from your hand. So this is where you can actually cast, if this is your commander along with the other commanders. Then, yeah. You have 2 commanders, and when you cast spell, you can cast, and you may have any number of special hits as partners. So you can actually have a lot more cards in this. But this one says you may cast spells from your graveyard as if they were in your hand. So basically you have infinite hand size, kind of. It. Continuing. Temple Guard God. When you draw a card, you may surveil 1 before you draw that card. And it has partner. And also has that same context that says you may have as many number of special subtypes. And there's under partner. Okay, well, cool. It's a lesser creature. And it allows you to surveil every time you draw a card, which is actually ridiculously good in this deck. New Puppy. Create a 1/1 dog for 1 and draw a card. Yep, that's about it. Which is ridiculous. Flare, dog special. Oh my gosh. Really? Whenever another player draws a card, you may draw a card. And you can also draw a card. Well, you won't mill yourself out, I guess. Flying and Vigilance. That really makes no sense. Vigilance, yes. Flying, no. The 2/8 does cost 6. A partner. It does not have the effect of this guy, but it itself can also be the part of the thing for it. Yikes. So you can draw additional cards. So basically, whenever another player draws a card. So it doesn't target yourself, but yeesh. New World. Okay, so another one of those cards you can have as many copies as you want of it. Draw a card. Place a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, and you can store them. So the more cards you play, the more 1/1 counters get put on creatures you control. Yeah, so you can get a lot of really good cards. Dog Training Ground! We got a huge legendary land. Whenever Dog Training Ground taps for mana, draw 2 cards and discard a card. At the end of your turn, if it's untapped, you create a 4/4 dog. So if it's not, this card is ridiculous. I'm going to say banned immediately because this card is way too powerful. First off, when it taps mana, you draw 2 cards. And when it's untapped, you create a 4/4 dog. Yeah, I'm going to have to change that card or ban it or do something with it because it's ridiculous. We got first attack. It can recast it for 1 and X mana, depending on how many times you play it, so it costs you at least 3. Target creature gains first strike until end of turn. That's all it does. Escape for damage is an enchantment. It's a dog enchantment. Return target creature to your hand. So to return a card from so basically, instead of taking damage or being destroyed, it doesn't do damage because it doesn't actually target it. It doesn't do anything, but you return target creature from hand. So basically, it protects it from being destroyed. That also would be ridiculously good with Skylar. That would be ridiculous because you could return that to your hand. Never mind, that doesn't really work that well. Happy. It's another happy, guys. Happy can be blocked with creatures can be blocked by power 3 or greater. It's a 4/2. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, you gain 2 life and scry 1. Cool. A future draw a card. Skip your next draw step. So you get draw a card, then you don't draw a card in your next draw step. And then we got a kind of draw of skin, which says you have no mana from hand side, which is really good in this thing. It costs 1 less for each card in target player's hand. So you can target yourself if you have a lot of cards in your hand. If you have at least 7 cards in your hand. And opponents lose X life at the end of your turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand minus the cards in their hands. Each player draws 4 cards for tapping it. Oh my goodness, that is ridiculous. Getting close to the end here. Dog Wishes. You can discard a card, and it gets +2/+2 for each player who has 2 or less cards in their hand. Yeah, so yeah. You want to do rel for that. Robot Dog. It has, okay. I added another effect. Control. This might be the worst thing I have made. Actually, no, Uproot is the worst thing I did, but so basically you pay for 1, and when it attacks alone, each player draws a card. When a player gains control of a robot, that player draws 3 cards, and the robot's caster draws a card. So basically, it does a lot of stuff. So you can pay 5 to gain control of it, basically. And then you also gain control of it, get a land for it, and that player draws 3 cards off of the effect, which is ridiculous for the context of the effect. It's only 1 cost. This is another one, White Dog. It has control. You can make each player gain 3 life. Whenever it attacks alone, White Dog's caster and White Dog's controller gains 3 life. I think it only works once. So if you pay 1, my god, that's terrible. So if it attacks alone, if I'm the caster and I control it, I gain 6 life. If I'm correctly understanding that. Feed the dogs. Roll 6-sided die. Create X food tokens. And dogs and hounds are +1/+1 until end of turn. Sounds reasonable. Overfeed. Oh. I had to put something like this in here. Its enchanted creature can't attack or block. Whenever it leaves the battlefield, or draw a card. Because you control it. Lana. The other dogs are +1/+0. It's just a dog. Not much else to talk about with that. Man's best friend. Draw a card for... It's an instant creature, so you can get extra cards. Draw a card for each differently powered creature you control. So, not including this one because it's not a creature. If you control one creature, then you get 1 card. If you control 2 creatures that have different powers, you get 2 cards. You get the idea. And you need to play it to the 2/2 with lifelink and vigilance. I don't think that card's really weaker. I don't know. Group of dogs. It's another instant creature. Create 3 1/1 blue dogs, and you can pay the weakest cost later. It's trample and haste 6/6. Goodness. Oh yeah. Summon the small. Create a. This is actually in 2 deck. It's actually in the cast deck as well. But I'll either create a 1/1 blue-white dog or a 2/1 cat or with haste. Draw a card. I don't think it's as effective in this deck, but it does work. And I got dog sword. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 if it's a dog or a hound. Otherwise, it gets +1/-2. If you want to die, some creature die, I guess. Dog Valley. A deck can have as many copies of this. It's just add blue, add white, add blue. 2 mana pool, that's it. Giant Power. This is another mystical colors deck. It has the Void also. So it is a mystical color deck, so it changes the colors. Target creature gets +10/+10, loses all abilities until end of turn. It has no abilities, but it's 10/10, so it is huge. Just imagine putting that on. Something like. Stop loading. Imagine putting that on something like. I don't even know. I'm gonna draw dogs. But imagine putting that onto. The reason why it's blue, it's white red, is because you can then play it also in the other deck. It's also in the other deck. But 10/10. Imagine putting that on a creature though that it loses all abilities, so it doesn't have flying, shroud, or anything like that, so it can be targeted now. But yeesh. Mystical Charm. Enchantment. Choose one of this one at the start of each turn. Of each creature you control get +2/+1, or creatures get +0/+2. It has the Void. It has no colors. It's mystical. It's also mystical colors. Yeah. Call the Beast. Mystical colors. You can play this. Sacrifice this card. Call the Beast. Search your library for a non-legendary creature placed on the battlefield tapped. It's a common. Yep. Dying creature. Exile target creature. You control. Or you can pay the cleave cost and exile target creature. Sounds pretty good. And then the last card, of course, before we looked at this before. Play this card as soon as you draw it. It can't be countered. Spells, which is actually ridiculous in this deck because think of it this way. That's actually ridiculously good for a card like Skylar. If you have, let's say, 9 or let's say at least 8 of those creatures on the fields, then you can play that for just 4. It still, of course, has the effect. That's it for this video. I'm not going to be able to do both things. I will go ahead and explain what the other 2 decks do. The Cast of Power is upgrade all cats. And then werewolves is mill yourself or maybe your opponent, depending on what happens. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to keep your game on. And I will see you guys in the next video. Real quickly before, I'm pretty sure this week was not supposed to be a week I streamed. Let me just make sure I'm right about that. We are in April. So next week there will not be a stream. And the reason there's not going to be a stream is because of the fact that I'm going to be going to a pre-release on that week, and so there will not be a one that week. I'm going to do this again. The second part to this to show you both fingers once I complete the other decks. I think the Cats deck has already been finished, but the Werewolf deck is not finished yet. So I'll see you guys next video. Don't forget your game on. And have a good night, you guys.